Thank you for finding the time.
I will admit, it's not entirely unpleasant seeing you again.
Daredevil Born Again is here at last. The first 2 episodes were recently released. Oh, it is good to see our man Matt Murdock, but I do have to say, this is definitely Daredevil Born Again, not Daredevil Season 4.
I'm a little disappointed, but I kind of blame myself a little bit for some of my disappointment. But obviously, the other blame goes to Marvel.
I want to first start with that first, 15 minutes. It was intense. It was pretty emotional, too. It starts with the team, they're back together, they're kind of reminiscing, and then everything goes to shit.
Well, I've been hearing a lot about this first 15 minutes, so I was prepared to lose somebody. If you are a fan of the Netflix show, you probably should have realized that Foggy was going to fight it sometime during this season. And fuck them very much for getting that heartbeat thing so horribly right. I mean, like a dagger in your heart if you had feelings for any of these characters from the previous show. They got me with that. I just don't feel like they got their dynamic right. It didn't feel like the team dynamic that they had from the previous show.
They definitely do feel different. They're dynamic together, the 3 of them at the beginning. I thought that Marvel was laying it on thick, reminiscing. They're so happy. I knew that wasn't going to last for very long. I am enjoying the kind of A-B story between we're looking at Matt and then we're looking at Fisk. So we're really getting an insight into both of these characters, and I'm really enjoying following them both.
We've gotten Matt and Fisk right in the show. 2015 is when the initial show came out. So we're actually 10 years from when that came out. They're both older. They've both been through a lot of shit. They both lost. Now they can actually talk to each other almost as equals. Love the diner scene. They did, spoil that a little bit in some of the marketing prior to the show coming out. But it does work. If we're talking about characters other than Matt and Fisk, that's where my problems are. I feel like we're kind of dealing with a lot of NPCs. The detective is not Karen. The partner that Matt has is not Foggy. The manservant, Fisk, is not James Wesley. What the hell is Michael Gandolfini doing in the show? His character seems and feels so out of place to me. I don't feel attached to any characters other than Fisk and Matt.
I definitely agree. They feel like knockoff replacements of the side characters in the original show, and they just didn't give me a reason to really care about these new characters, so not loving those new dynamics.
It feels like a lot of the storytelling that they're doing in the show is very deliberate, because at the beginning of the show, it's kind of meta, and they're talking about the past and telling you, this place is closed that you know from before. What did you feel like about the storytelling of that message?
I thought it was a little heavy-handed. At first, I had a bad taste in my mouth for when I was watching it at first, because I was like, first of all, the music is so intense, and they have some slow-mo going on. They were really laying it on thick in terms of Josie's and things have changed, but we're still doing great, and we're so excited to be back together. And then Bullseye comes right from the get-go. I was very surprised that they opened with him. I wasn't expecting that, but we knew it would be something big.
For the most part, I liked it. But yeah, the CGI was a little bit wonky. I let him have that. There are things about that Netflix show that I really love. The way that it was filmed, it was very intimate. It felt like you were in it, in the muck, with these characters. And yeah, the action scenes, I'm totally fine with, what they did. I do think that some of the directing choices might have been a little wild. Yes, I understand how emotional it would be for Matt to lose Foggy. He was fighting Dex, and there was a moment there between Matt and Dex where I was like, okay, are they gonna kiss? Why? Why are we making this type of choice? And then Karen, of course she's going to be upset about Foggy dying in front of her, but the acting that was done there, I'm like, okay, well, who's directing this? What are we doing here? So some of the effect of losing that character was kind of shifted once I saw some of the other choices. Cinematography is a little bit different. I don't understand the whole thing with Gandolfini, Michael Gandolfini's character in this. He seems like he's in a different show. It's like tonally, like he's supposed to be, I guess, the Gen Z, I'm happy to be here, everything's cool, you're so cool, Mr. Fisk, you get things done. I don't think he would have suffered this person, you know what I mean? There's just so many like choices that have been made. And I'm just like, I still feel like the old show's better so far. Fisk and Daredevil, or Matt, are the only real people in this show that I actually care about. That's kind of sad.
We keep on comparing it to the Netflix show, but it also doesn't really feel like an MCU show, which is a really good thing in my books, for the most part.
I think that's true. I think what they're really trying to do is just give us enough to keep us on the hook, but not make it so that anything has to be seen before Avengers Secret Wars or Avengers Doomsday. They don't want to be like fully committed to this being MCU, which is fine. You need to focus on making an entertaining show. And they are doing that in a lot of aspects. But, I definitely had to point out some places where they're not meeting the mark.
We did just today get some news about season 2 and how apparently Karen Page and Foggy Nelson, they're going to be back.
I'm sure we're going to do some flashbacks. That's what we do in Daredevil. Did a lot of flashbacks in that Netflix show.
Stay tuned to our channel to see what we think of the rest of the Daredevil Born Again season.